Let me take you back to a pivotal moment in my life, a moment that changed everything. I was 6 when my parents decided to part ways. My mom got full custody and my dad, well, he needed time to himself. He claimed he couldn't care for my sister Maria and me when everything felt so raw. It stung, you know. As I watched him lean into Maria during those turbulent times, I felt invisible, as if my needs didn't matter at all. Fast forward a few years, and my dad met Jane at a bar. To be honest, I was indifferent at first. He had moved on, and I thought that was okay. But Jane had a different plan. She seemed obsessed with mending what she believed was a broken relationship between me and my dad. Each time we met, she would confront me, insisting that he wanted to reconcile, that he was eager for me to give him another chance. One summer evening, while we were gathered at Maria's apartment, the topic of an upcoming family vacation came up. When Jane asked for my thoughts, I simply replied that I wouldn't be going. Her reaction was explosive. She started questioning me, accusing me of ignoring my father. Emotions ran high as I found myself in a shouting match with her. I told her I was an adult, and if she didn't like my decision, maybe she should find someone else to follow her around. In that moment, my dad chimed in, and rather than argue further, I chose to leave. But not before Jane threw out a cutting remark, calling me my mom's pet. After that night, I didn't speak to my dad or Jane. When Maria announced her wedding, I felt a mix of hope and dread, wondering if I would have to face them again. Just a few days ago, Maria brought up her idea for a bridesmaid. She suggested Jane, saying she felt Jane had been so sweet and that she considered her a close friend. As she spoke, my heart sank. I knew Jane had been trying to apologize, but I interrupted. I told Maria that if she wanted Jane as a bridesmaid, that was her choice. But I wouldn't be in a position to keep running into her every time we planned something. I would attend the wedding, but I would not be a bridesmaid. That made Maria cry. She begged me to reconsider, saying she truly wanted me involved in her special day. I felt torn, knowing I was hurting her but also needing to protect myself. I told her I would think about it, but deep down I knew my stance. It was her wedding, and while I loved her, I wasn't willing to compromise my peace. Then the news reached my dad and Jane. Now my dad has been messaging me, saying I'm acting like a child and ruining Maria's big day. It's left me questioning everything. Now let me shift gears for a moment. Picture this. I'm a 59-year-old woman with a 31-year-old daughter. She's been living with me due to financial struggles, and her husband is often absent. I cook vegetarian meals, which often leaves my picky grandson hungry. Last weekend, my daughter went out with friends, and I assumed she'd be back in time for dinner. But she didn't return until late, and the kids were starving. I offered them what I had, rice and steamed vegetables. The older ones ate, but my youngest grandson threw a fit, demanding chicken nuggets. I explained that I didn't want to cook meat, but he could wait for his mom to return. In a moment of frustration, he threw his plate on the floor, shattering it. When my daughter finally returned, she was furious with me for letting her kids go to bed hungry. I told her it was just one night, that they weren't going to starve. But her anger stung, especially when she claimed I was treating her child like a servant because I asked him to help clean up the mess. I felt torn. Was I the one in the wrong? My grandson didn't starve, but he didn't get what he wanted. And I couldn't help but wonder, in this chaotic family dynamic, was anyone really taking responsibility? I realized we all have a part to play. My daughter needed to communicate better, and I needed to stand firm in my choices. The truth is, we all want to feel heard, valued, and respected in our relationships. So, as I reflect on these intertwined stories of family and love, I urge you to think about your own relationships. Are you standing up for yourself while still being there for others? It's a delicate balance, but one worth striving for.